Tricone resonator guitar. It has a steel body and a wooden neck, and inside of it 3 spun aluminium cones, like speaker cones. It is a mechanically amplified instrument. It's quite loud. And it was designed for rooms just like this, big boxy resonant rooms. With your kind permission, I would like to do my 5-minute, 30-minute set entirely acoustically in the manner in which this guitar was designed. Is that alright with everyone? Yeah. It kind of changes the rules a little bit. All becomes about physics. If this is not loud enough, you need to come slightly closer. And if this is too loud, you need to go further away. And if you want to chat during the next half an hour, you need to go quite a long way further away. Maybe over the bridge into Watlington. There's a pub there, I'm sure. Just play now, so I have to stop.
Good morning.
Hello.
King
Good
size
morning.
slim.
All right. How are you?
We're sitting in a pub, and it's we're just over the yard arm, I think.
The sun is definitely just over the yard arm. I can see it over there, just out of shot. It's definitely over there. Yeah.
We're in the garden at the Jenny Lind, which is a place of momentous beauty, as you can see.
Slightly overgrown.
Yeah.
Right now.
The
sunshine and rain.
Gardeners on holiday, perhaps.
I believe so. I think it is. That's early July holiday he's having.
Okay. When did you start playing music, and what age were you?
Oh, I was 8 when I started playing guitar. Classical guitar, you know. My mum sent me and my brother for guitar lessons with a little old lady around the corner who played guitar called Miss Stebbins, and I learnt then, you know, from 8. And then I was about 12, I got given an electric guitar, and that was when the fun started.
Did you love it straight away?
No, I didn't. I mean, I was certainly more adept at it than my younger brother, but I didn't enjoy. I can't remember enjoying it. I was a kid and having to, think about where your fingers are going. It was really boring. It was an electric guitar is immediately a lot more fun than a classical guitar. You know, obviously as musical instruments they both have their place, but for a 12-year-old kid, getting a guitar and an amplifier is loud and brash and. You know, you look like a rock star, so it suddenly got easier.
So there was initially a certain attraction, the rock star attraction thing.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
we all go through it, but some of us it's in front of a mirror playing air guitar.
Oh, I did that. Only I had a guitar; it was still in front of the mirror.
Yeah,
same thing. Yeah, when I was at school, so I was about 13 or so. You know, I got into bands with friends at school. So I had a friend who played drums and another one who played bass. So we'd get together, do gigs at school, and fetes and all kinds.
What was the name of this first band?
That band was called The Rivals.
Well, that's a good name.
Yeah, it's a good name, isn't it? Not, it's been used, I'm sure. But we did all kinds of covers and some original stuff, rock and roll covers.
You played with the Selector.
That's right.
Was that in the days when Pauline Black was with them?
Well, Pauline Black is the Selector pretty much. Yeah, she's always been in the band. She's never left the Selector. So yes, I played with them between 2001 and the beginning of 2005. So 4 years-ish.
In terms of genre,
it's difficult to pin down. I mean, obviously it fits under the blues banner and roots and Americana and kind of folky, but it doesn't fit particularly comfortable in any of those genres. But I can play an Americana festival and get away with it, and I can play a blues festival and get away with it. So I don't know. I mean, we call it heavyweight acoustics, which is suitably vague.
I like it.
When I left school, I started getting into bands that we did holiday camps and the ferries going out of Portsmouth to Santander and Spain and France and Ireland and all those kind of places. So professionally, pretty much straight after I left school. I went to school in Broadstairs, so
what made you move to Hastings then?
Well, I moved out of Kent to Brighton initially. Because there's more going on in Brighton. I mean, there's more going on in London, but I never really fancied living in London. It's too much and So I moved to Brighton, and then I did about 8 or so years there, I think, perhaps a bit longer. And I was looking to move I had to move out of where I was in Brighton anyway, and I came over here to do a gig at a bar called The Street, which is no longer here. Parisian style cafe bar. Okay. And a friend of mine ran it, and he got me over to do a gig there. It might have been a Beaujolais Day or something like this, a celebration day. And I just looked around and thought, it's all right here. And then I looked at an estate agent window and thought, I could afford this, so I moved here, and I'm really glad I did. I didn't know much about the music scene. I knew there was a music scene, but not as rich as it is now. Anyway, you know. So it's quite a surprise, really.
And when you won that award in 2014, for the Emerging Blues Artist,
British Blues Award, yes.
Did you think at that point that would make any difference to your career?
Yeah, it has.
It has made a difference.
Yeah, things like that do. I mean, you know, it's a thing, putting it crudely, it's a thing you can put on the poster, or a thing you can put in a promotional stuff. So instead of saying, you know, my email's going out, hi, I'm King Size Slim, I'm great, book me, I can say British Blues Award winner, banners across the top, and it makes people listen, you know. Another thing like that is Glastonbury. So if you play Glastonbury, you can put that on your CV, and it makes people, wow, it must be amazing to play Glastonbury.
You have played Glastonbury?
I have done, yeah, twice, yeah. Well, but it really works. I played there once. We headlined the Avalon stage on a Saturday night with the Selector, which is a cool gig back in the day, and then 3 or 4 years ago I went and did it on my own. A few shows. I mean, carrying the guitars in a wheelbarrow around.
Brilliant. So then, of course, 2015, just a year later on New Year's Eve, you played support to Queen.
Yes.
Not the Queen, but to Queen.
No, not the Queen, thankfully. Queen, the rock band.
Yeah.
Rock band. Yeah, it's a strange old gig for them, really. I mean, it was, on their terms, it was an intimate gig, so it's only 2,500 people, which for me is quite big, you know. And it was a New Year's Eve, and it was a televised thing on the BBC, and I essentially they had 45 minutes to kill, you know. And I had played a show a few months before, and a couple of members of the production company that put the Queen gig on were at this gig, and we got chatting, and they said, if we ever need someone, we'll give you a call. So they did. So I played support to Queen, which is cool, you know. So we're like 2,500 Queen fans, and I got away with it.
That's very good, actually.
Yeah, I've done loads of support stuff. I mean,
Gino Washington, of course.
Did Gino? Yeah, he's cool. He is one of the coolest people I've ever met. He's just cool. It oozes out of him.
Do you know, I don't know how old he is, but when I was 15, he was already a mature star.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's getting on a bit, but he's still got it. He still rocks, really does. You know, still got that great presence about him. He's brilliant.
Okay, how do you see the future for you in terms of music?
I'm going to keep doing this, keep playing, and keep doing what I'm doing, and keep writing music, and keep gigging, and that's the way it goes, you know.
So you're happy with your lot? I mean, okay, you'd like more, but
of course I'm happy with that. No, who is? No, I'd like to. In terms of that, I'd like to be playing more theatres and, you know, slightly larger venues to ticketed audiences who are there to enjoy the music, and maybe do a few less pubs. You know, that'd be nice. Yeah.
If you're in a pub, you know, a lot of the time you're probably not being listened to as such, not specifically.
Okay.
How would you respond to that?
Well, quite directly, and I'd get them to listen to me. That's part. I don't see that as a problem. I see it as a challenge. You know, I mean, I'm a solo show, so it can be quite tough to grab an audience, but that's my job. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are gigs, sometimes, particularly some pub gigs, where I try, it's not happening, so I'm just background music, and that's fine, I just play my music, do my thing. But most times I can grab the audience, and I think it's a really good place to learn to do that.
I saw you do that in Eastbourne, actually, because...
Where was that?
At Sovereign Harbour. You know?
Oh, crikey, yes, yeah.
Because what was good was, because a lot of the people that go for these restaurant kind of music evenings, they're there with their friends and they're just talking and drinking and making their own noise, and you can easily become background music, but you kind of took them by the throat, and you had them all singing, and you really did a great job of pulling them round, really.
Thank you.
Now say, now may we find, now may we find, now may we find our way out of the storm. By united we will stand, but divided we may fall. May we find our way out of the storm.
But I think to achieve anything, you've got to be able to sort of speak to the audience very directly.
You have to engage somehow, yeah, but there are many different ways to engage. I mean, I choose to take my route to engage with an audience is quite showbiz, really. You know, it's very little to do with musicianship. It's about performance and theatre, I suppose. But you know, you can go and see other acts where they don't actually say very much, but what they do is effective and it's succinct, and their act is about being contained, you know, being a smaller thing that people have to look at. So there are ways of engaging without shouting, "Hey, how are you?" You know, it's possible to do so.
talking briefly about audiences now.
Yeah.
My impression has been, when I go to these things, whether it's up in Liverpool or down here in Hastings or anywhere that I've been, is that mostly the audiences for the live shows that I've seen, and I'm not talking about pubs now, are older.
Okay.
I would say in excess of 50 years generally.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Which means, worryingly, that the future of music is not as sure as it might be if we're finding that the youngsters are not going to live music.
Okay, I think I get at my show, I play a lot of shows in different places, and I do get, I'm going to say kids in their 20s, they're not kids at all, they're adults, but I do get people in their 20s coming along and really liking what I'm doing, and it depends gig for gig. Generally speaking, what you're saying is true, but it depends on where I'm playing. I'd say that if I'm playing blues festivals, then the demographic is pretty much as you've explained, with a few exceptions. But if I play a mainstream festival, for example, then there's a much better mix of crowd. I don't think live music's ever going to die out, if that's what you're worried about. I can't see that happening.
No, I kind of equate it to America in the 30s, when the original blues musicians were out there on the road with their guitars slung over their shoulder, walking between towns, playing outside speakeasies and that sort of thing, for a few coppers. But they did it because that's the only way they knew how to make any money, and that's all they wanted to do. Yeah. And you've kind of got that kind of vibe about you. not so penny pinched, perhaps.
Yeah, you're right.
But the sort of general.
I don't know. Have you seen the state of this? I could do with a new one.
Well, it is the most beautiful guitar, obviously, that I've ever seen. How many gigs do you think you play a year?
Well, this last year I've kind of slowed down a little bit. So the last 2 years I've kind of backed off a little bit from playing all the time because I've got a young family and I just fancied a bit of a change. But until 2 years ago I was doing 150 a year, 150 shows a year. So this year it will be about 100, maybe 110.
Still about 2 a week.
Yeah, 2 or 3 a week is, that's what you want to be doing. That's when it's a living.
And basically, I mean, you live from your music earnings. You don't have any other income at all.
That's what I do for a living. Yeah.
You're not a secret millionaire, or
no.
Okay.
No. If I was, we'd be drinking champagne.
Yeah, we would, because I like champagne too. Yeah.
Some that shouldn't have been. I heard the thunder, I felt the rain, and I weathered the storm. The job's a man instinct. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So I met a man, told me he danced with the devil, right about 7 years old. He came right back off the floor, that stinking around the floor with me. This she told me was the story. He came to lose his soul. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, guess it's sitting on the song. 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 It's been good to me. I've had some freedom and the will to be. So in this sweet life, it is taken from me. Baby, I despair. Baby, I'm weeping. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Hey, guess it's sitting on the sun. Guess it's sitting